Hi, I'm Jack Soul, and welcome to Gig Stories. So, Gig Stories is a new segment on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be telling you my gigging career from the very start to where I am now. And I'm going to be trying to recall all the things that I've learned over the years and pass on some of that information, some of those tips and tricks about gigging. And so, without further ado, let's get into it. This story all starts with me getting a message from a guy named Mike. So I'm going to be telling some different gigs that I had throughout Gig Stories, but it's all going to be following my main gig in a band called Paper Shakers. So like I said, this starts with getting a message from a guy named Mike. And I got this message. I was in college. I was in second year in 2017, and I had just turned 19, which is the age that you have to be in Canada to get into the venues and the bars and that kind of thing. And I wanted to be in a band. And so when I got a message from this guy named Mike, it was really interesting. But I remember it being around Christmas time, and so I wasn't really sure what to do with it. I didn't know this guy at all, so I kind of let the message sit for a little while. And then I talked to my friend Luke, one of my best friends, Luke. He played bass. We went to college together. He plays bass. And I showed him the message, and I was like, what do you make of this? And we were kind of agreeing that it's like, well, it sounds like a pretty cool gig if it's real. And that was kind of one of our main concerns. But, we decided together, and I decided, okay, well, I'm going to message him back and see, if anything comes of it. So I messaged Mike back, and we decide to go meet up, hang out, just chat for a bit, and to see, if this was something that could work. And while we were chatting, we realized that our vision for music and playing live music and recording, it all lined up. And this is the conversation as well that I met Whitney, who is Mike's wife, and she was going to be a co-lead singer of the Paper Shakers, our band Paper Shakers. So met Whitney, met Mike, we all got along, and I can't remember if it was during this conversation where Mike had mentioned we're going to need a bass player as well. So, of course, I was really excited to hear this because my friend Luke also wanted to be in a band. So after the conversation ended, I hurried back to the college. I texted Luke. I was like, Luke, you're never going to guess. I had a great conversation with Mike. I met this girl named Whitney, and it sounds awesome. And, during this conversation, he's thinking like, oh, great, man. I'm super excited for you. But it goes on. And I said, and they're also looking for a bass player, and they wondered if I knew anyone. And of course I said, I know Luke and he'll be interested in this. Luke is excited. He said, yeah, I'm interested in this. So Mike wanted to set up a jam, just to see, if we lined up musically. I can't even remember if he sent us some tracks to, learn, and then we could play them, but we all went, I think we went over to Mike's place and we jammed for a bit, and Mike liked the way we sounded. Luke and I played together for years before that, just for fun, doing random stuff. And so we meshed. We knew where each other was going to be. Mike liked the way we sounded. And we, I've had a lot more time to practice since then. I've seen some growth. I'm going to show some videos. But we did our homework back then too. I had lessons, and I felt ready for an opportunity like this. So this has all been really exciting. And okay, so Mike was ready to kind of talk about what this was going to be. So this is going to be the main tips and tricks section, the main takeaway from this gig story is, what's the difference between a hired gun and a member of a band? So a lot of the times when you get reached out to, and you're not starting the project, you're a hired gun, a hired guitarist. They hire you, you go to the gig, or I guess rather first you go to the practice, then you go to the gig, and they pay you money to play. You leave the gig with the set amount of money that you agreed upon, and that's awesome. Now, why does this happen? So one of the reasons why artists don't create bands that are solidified. So for instance, I'm a big fan of John Mayer, and why does he not have a set band? I'm sure you've noticed over the years, if you do follow John Mayer, that he's had all kinds of different musicians play with him, back him up in his band. And there's some regulars for sure, but why doesn't he have a set concrete band? And that's because he's the artist. John Mayer, obviously going by his name, that's who people are coming to see. I'm not saying that people haven't gone to see John Mayer to see Pino, but John Mayer is the main person in that project. So even if, Joe Schmo, the drummer, can't make it, like even if Steve Jordan isn't able to make the next tour, then John Mayer will hire somebody else. And essentially the people buying tickets are often none the wiser. They go to see John Mayer. It doesn't affect the way other people are perceiving his band from the perspective of branding and all of this stuff. So going back to Paper Shakers, Mike and Whit had put a lot of thought into this. They had original music already written and on the go for this project, and they were looking for people to bring it to life. So I was entering into the project after a lot of vision and work had went into this, and that's why they were offering for me to hop on as a hired guitarist rather than to be a part of the band right away. And again, the story goes on. You'll hear how it turns out. But at the moment, we were really excited to just be hired guns, my friend Luke and I. And that's something that we were looking forward to just playing. So again, like Mike sent us some tracks to learn, and we started practicing. But at the end of one of these conversations, he mentioned, okay, well, we still need a drummer. And so he mentioned this time, I think I know a guy. I think he'll fit in really good with, what we have so far. And this was only, I think, like a week into us talking. So nothing had really started yet. And he got in this guy named Dave Daver. And he had known him already. So that was the 5 of us. It was Mike, Whitney, Dave, Luke, and me. And I have to say, we made for a great team. You're going to hear more stories as we move along. But yeah, like, even hearing what other musicians go through, just hearing stories, whether it be on YouTube or wherever, on how, people invest heavily into something, and you need to respect that. As a musician, you need to respect that as somebody that's coming alongside to help better this stream and to propel it forward. And again, we were so excited. This is the last bit of info or a tip moving forward, is that if this is where you're at in your music career, in your gigging career, you should go and start a YouTube channel now. I wish I started my YouTube channel back then. Again, like, there's always tons of reasons. Things move at such a quick pace. And not to mention the equipment you need to even get started. But it's totally worth it to start something that will help you brand yourself as a musician early in your music career. Because again, when you're hopping onto, this project and that project, you want to set up something that will help you not only in between projects, but you want to set up something that will help you get the next project, help get your name out there, help other bands or artists that are looking for guitarists know who you are. And so again, social media, but start your YouTube channel now. You will thank me. You'll thank me later if that's where you're at. But that's going to conclude this gig story. Thank you so much. Please tune in to the next gig story to continue to see how this story plays out. And I'm super excited to be telling this story. It's definitely worthwhile. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time.